Another microservice design pattern is called the API gateway. So what is the API gateway? For example, in our case, in the hotel booking system, right now we have only two microservices, right? Hotel and the booking service. But later on, we will add more services like a payment service, notification service, user service, and each of these services are talking with each other, are interacting with each other. So as a result, we have many endpoints that we need to reach. And what's the problem here? What's the problem with this approach? The problem is that the front end or mobile clients or whoever is the client for these applications, for these microservices, they must know that the microservices URL, right? They must know their IP and port. It's a hard to maintain and the scale, and also is a security risk because we are exposing every microservice to the client. What's the solution? What's the best practice or the design pattern that we are using for this case is the API gateway. So what's the API gateway? It's basically a single entry point to our system. So API gateway is the only endpoint, is the only microservice that we are exposing to the external systems, and the client is reaching to the API gateway. So from the API gateway, we are routing all the requests to the booking service, payment service, hotel service, and so on. And what's the responsibilities of the API gateway, right? The first one is that, as we have already mentioned, routing the request. Another one is that the authentication and the authorization, logging and monitoring, rate limiting, and the response aggregating. So the response aggregation, so which means that let's say we have results from the multiple services, so we can aggregate them and return to the user. So what are the technologies that we are using? The first one is the Zool proxy that was used before. It's a part of the Netflix libraries, but it was largely replaced by the Spring Cloud Gateway, which we are going to review today. So let's take a look and see that how exactly we are setting that up. So for that, for the API gateway, we are creating a separate module, separate service, API gateway, and what we have here, right? So what we have here is we have our pom.xml. So it's no different than what we have in other services. The only difference is here we are adding the Spring Cloud Starter Gateway, and also what we add here, right? So we are adding, again, port, we are adding name of our application, and we are registering that in Eureka, but also what we do is we are setting up the routes here. So for example, in this case, whatever API, whenever we are calling the API hotels, it will route those requests to our hotel service. And whenever we are called API book, it will route those requests to our booking service. And our API gateway application is a simple Spring Boot application. So I've already started all these applications. So we have now 4 applications running, right? So we have what? We have Discovery Server, Eureka running, and we have 3 services: booking service, hotel service, and our API gateway. So it's already running, and now let's go and see that how exactly it works. So for example, let's check this endpoint right here. So what we have here, we are reaching out to the API gateway, and whenever we are sending a request to the API hotels, it routes us to our hotel service, and we are reaching to the endpoint of the hotel service, which is the hotels. So this will return us response from the hotel service. As you can see here, hello from the instance on port 8081, which is our hotel service.